Welcome back. You're here with our Master J, and this is a gaming review, which I won't do very often as I don't find a lot of extra time to play a lot of extra games, and I only really want to do a review if I've played it all the way through. I've completed Pokemon Legends Arceus. I've put in 32 hours, 47 minutes, and we have ran the credits. So I'd like to go over the good, the bad, and the what I would like to see in the future. For the good, let me caveat first, I have not played many Pokemon games over the course of the last 20 years. The last game I played very heavily, the last game I played continuously for a long time was all the way back in the Red and Blue days on my Game Boy. So I do not have a whole lot of experience, but I know very early on one of the things that always got to me was the fact that they made you always have to buy 2 games to kind of be able to complete the game. From a collecting everything and having opportunity. So that was one thing I never really liked. This game doesn't necessarily force that. But what's the main thing? Open world concept. That is probably the biggest plus to this. So I really enjoyed the open world concept, how you interacted with the environment, how you collected resources, things of that nature. Very different than most of the previous games, and just very modern, right? How you can interact with it. Obviously, they did more of just an open landscape kind of style with some caves and things of that nature. I think there's a lot to expand on that, going more dungeon cave-esque. There was like one situation where that took place, getting more of those involved, introducing a cityscape or other towns to visit. Really, you just had the one town you interacted with and a bunch of landscape. So evolving off of that would be really cool. So another good was the catching Pokemon mechanic. That mechanic I did enjoy. So the way you can kind of creep in the grass, the way you try to catch a Pokemon when it's not seeing, that you get a bonus when you're actually able to hit the Pokemon without seeing you get a bonus, and then if their back is turned, you get an extra bonus, and that kind of goes in the Pokedex thing. So I like the mechanic of how you can creep around. Obviously, if you're doing that nonstop, it takes a little bit of a long time to kind of get there. So I tried to do most of my Pokedex via defeating Pokemon, because you can catch Pokemon forever if you so choose to. So that was another kind of cool mechanic. I like the catching Pokemon. And again, how you interacted with the surrounding environment in the open world was, I thought, was done quite well. Another good thing was the crafting. I actually really liked the crafting. I liked how it kind of took money out of it and let the money be more for cosmetics and moves and things of that nature. So it kind of gave you 2 levels of currency. Get a bunch of things, collect a bunch of items within the map, craft your items that you actually need for the gameplay, and then kind of money to kind of supplement that and or collect other things for your skins and things of that nature. So that kind of, another one of the positives was group experience gain. So anybody that was in your party gained experience during any Pokemon battles or Pokemon catching. So that allowed lower level Pokemon that you either wanted to advance or evolve, things of that nature, to come up at a level at a significantly higher as you let maybe one workhorse Pokemon do a lot of the work on the ground, or again as you're catching higher levels and then letting everybody in your party gain from that. So that was a nice little feature that I enjoyed. Another good is the Pokedex game. Apparently this is something that has been out for other Pokemon games. I was not as familiar with it. I thought it was kind of a cool thing. Obviously, to kind of get everything, to achieve everything, kind of is a little tough to, I think, go ahead and do within how the game works. To achieve everything within the Pokedex does kind of probably gets a little cumbersome. Again, some of the things were a little unique, but again, I think that's a kind of cool feature that was relatively straightforward, and the threshold of pain at 10 points pretty much to get everything unlocked on that Pokemon within the Pokedex, I think was reasonable and kind of was fun. I like the feature just overall. It would be nice, though, if they could organize the Pokedex a little bit better, or let you scroll through your Pokemon a little bit better. You just get completely lost in just having to shuffle through everything, even when you did it by area, distinguished by area. There just wasn't. It was a little hard to scroll through, but that's another good was the Pokemon that you ride. So there's a Pokemon you ride. There's 2 Pokemon you ride. One for riding fast. One for digging and trying to find treasures. One you can ride in the water, because you can't swim in this game until you pretty much get the fish, and one that you can climb with. I would try to pronounce all those names, but I'm a Pokemon loser in terms of all of the future generation ones, so they're right here. That feature is pretty cool because it again opens up more areas of the world that you previously didn't have access to, which then allows you to kind of collect and gather more things, access other areas of the map where some other Pokemon, higher level Pokemon you might not have seen previously are. It lets you get around the map a little bit faster and things of that nature. So I like that built-in feature and how that progresses. Obviously, I forgot the last one actually you can fly with, which really opens up the access to the map significantly faster. That's kind of when you kind of can hit the turbo speed on moving forward and getting around, which does make some of the walking and getting around at the very beginning a little cumbersome, but it did not feel bad. Like it felt like a good natural progression before you can get the ride along deer and things of that nature. So that was another kind of good positive that I thought was very cool with how the open world worked, and a very commonplace for open world environments where you continue to get features that let you travel the world faster than how you started. And really, the negatives are more of things I would like to see built off of and improved. So I'm going to try to keep the sole negative things to just things that are negative. First off was, I didn't love the story. You're pretty much just dropping in from a space-time rift and you're from the future, but it's never really acknowledged and everyone kind of accepts you and you just play through and you're going to cause... the storyline never enticed me to be part of it. So I didn't really love the story. The Pokemon battle mechanics are still, to me, very broken, right? Every match is just a one punch, get in the face, win, lose, drop the right Pokemon in, super effective versus not effective, right? You get into those battles, they all take 2 seconds, even some of the more serious, like, boss battles that you take on. They don't last very long, they're not really engaging, there's not a lot to be had with that. One of the battle mechanics I think would actually benefit Pokemon a lot is the Final Fantasy 15 battle mechanic, where it's an active timer, and so you're constantly having to make calls of how you want your Pokemon to interact. Who do you want them to attack? What are we using spells? Are we using things? And I think, and you get a little bit more information instead of always kind of just blindly being like attack, and then you just have a health bar that just goes open or closed, right? Having a little bit more of how much damage was dealt, how much damage is left, things of that. Like, you don't necessarily need to counter, but if you see, okay, you just did 30 damage and you've taken away half the life bar, at least you kind of know I'm up against 60 HP in the first place, right? You can kind of do some of those assessments. The way you can use your items then would be active. Then you would be able to use the strong and agile style thing that they built into the mechanic a little bit better, because if somebody does agile, you can see it's pretty much like using a haste spell, so you can kind of see the thing moving. Obviously using an item shouldn't reset your full timer. It should give you a shorter timer. It would also potentially let you use multiple Pokemon at the same time. So you could take on 3 versus 3 Pokemon because you'd have the timer going and you can preset. So it would make it still turn-based within the scheme of the game, but at least it would be more interactive and agile in how it would operate. Side quest. Another bad for me. There is little to no incentive on executing side quests because all you usually get are a couple extra items you can already get on the map while you're walking around doing what you're doing. And a lot of the items you get don't serve a lot of purpose, right? There's, this cures confusion. This cures like the lightning paralysis. But again, because the battles only take 1 or 2 turns, if that happens, it's easier just to swap out the Pokemon and you still get to do the attack because the swapping of Pokemon usually doesn't steal a turn. So it really kind of... It's just no incentive to do a lot of those things. I'd rather have those side quests give you experience, give you move tokens, give you more rare items that you cannot get on the map, like S candies or rare candies. There are some missions that do give those, but they're kind of few and far between. And again, with the way the missions kind of work, the side missions kind of work, they don't help the story progress really at all. I did a bunch, like the first 15-ish right came in, and I was like, yeah, we're going to do all these. And then a bunch come on the map, and they're just literally just side missions. They just don't add anything. There's no side story to any of it. it just wasn't enticing for me to go do. So I felt the side quests of this game were just, they're just there for fluff. There's no benefit to them overall. Continuing with the bad, the boss battles for the most part involve limited to no Pokemon fighting. There's actually not a lot of incentive to fight with your Pokemon because you'd be better off just running around, dodging the Pokemon attacks, and throwing treats at them, pretty much. Little, glitter bomb bags over and over and over again. Even the final boss, you are fighting with glitter bags. To me, that is it was very unfulfilling, those things. You're pretty much just spamming the throw button, dodging some things, and then you have the ability to restart the battle if you died. But again, there wasn't a lot of incentive to really do that. So those boss battles not being more based on Pokemon battles was kind of rough. And because the Pokemon mechanics still kind of overall broken, a lot of these, again, the storyline and how it feeds into a lot of these battles are just, it's rough. It's rough overall. It's just rough. Okay, on to the items that I think would be improvements on this game and what I would like to see in, say, Pokemon Legends, 2, whatever they want to call it from a land standpoint. So I already mentioned one, battle mechanic. I would love for them to finally update the battle mechanic so it actually feels like you're battling for something. I don't know if they want to keep the game time shorter or things of that nature, but I honestly think if they could go to something like a Final Fantasy 15 battle mechanic where it's still turn-based, but it's more timer-based. And again, the way you interact isn't just super effective, critical hit, game over, right? That shouldn't happen until you got 10, 15, 20 levels on the thing you're engaging with. Probably 10. Let's just go with 10. Once you're 10 levels above, then you can start one-hitting. But when you're fighting something as an equal, it should be 3, 4, 5 engagements before it's actually over, right? Trying to mix in different spells, trying to use items. Can you use 2 Pokemon at once? Can you have more than just the 4 moves to kind of diversify how your engagements go? So all of those type of things I think would be really cool in a huge step forward in terms of how you interact with the Pokemon. Other thing would be focusing more on Pokemon battling. Yes, when you're in the open world, you can do plenty of battles and you can interact and do all this stuff. You're trying to really catch a lot of Pokemon, get Pokemon to do certain moves, things of that nature. But I would really love a just traditional gym-based, going city to city, going through the plains, really kind of build a world, open world of Pokemon that you could go get the gyms, try to defeat the gym trainers. Maybe there's a Team Rocket, evil side quest things of that nature. That's all I had to say on Pokemon Legends Arceus. I don't really have too much other than, if I had to give it a rating out of 10, I'd probably only give it a 5. I think they made great strides in changing how you interact with the world and things of that nature. But the story is blah. The battle mechanic to me is still... the battle mechanic was just very broken to me. And the fact that the boss battles were throwing glitter bombs at gold shiny Pokemon the entire time was a little disappointing. There's a lot of promise that I would love to see in the future, and I think there was a lot of fun in engaging with the world. But if they could improve on some of that thing, you can really start to approach a 8, 9 kind of style, 9.5 style game. The bones are there. It's just, they make those improvements that really make it immersive with the world and give you a storyline that's more compelling, and make the battle mechanics something a little bit more engaging, that really tests your abilities, than just kind of pressing one button and having the battle always be over, even when you're at level 50 versus level 50, which should be something that's a little bit more difficult in terms of your ability to complete each battle. So So yeah, I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 5, a 10 out of 5, a 5 out of 10, and hope you enjoyed this review. Hey, I'm our Master J. Thank you for coming to check out my YouTube channel. Please like and subscribe, and if you like what you saw, come check me out at twitch.tv/rmasterj. And as always, GG.